Now we're talking to Axel Caballero. He's with Quantum A, and they put together an interesting video on unemployment and how it affects Latino Americans. First, Axel, how are you, man?
Very good. Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
It's so great to have you on. Let's actually show everybody the video you've got on Facebook first, and then we'll come back and talk about it.
Sounds good.
They want to spend an additional $700 billion to give an average of $100,000 to millionaires. That, I think, is a bad idea.
There are still about 5 unemployed people for each job opening.
Millions of Americans, our fellow citizens, through no fault of their own, find themselves unemployed.
The notion that you're going to cut off somebody's unemployment insurance and have them go out and find a job is just plain nuts, because the job just isn't there to be found.
El desempleo hispano todavía supera el 12%.
It is a very painful thing to be unemployed. It's very humiliating and it's very humbling.
Estoy dispuesto a trabajar en cualquier lado.
Por la situación como está, uno acepta lo que sea.
The program will end, and those 4 million people, if they can't find a job, will not have a safety net to fall back on.
Republicans say we can't afford it, but they're also anxious to pass $200 billion in tax cuts for America's wealthiest.
The Bush tax cuts, which are many times larger than unemployment benefits.
The rich are always going to say, just give us more money and we'll go out and spend more, and then it'll all trickle down to the rest of you. But that has not worked in the last 10 years. Public is catching on.
Axel, having watched that, I hope that there's one guy who's catching on. His name is Barack Obama. But I'm obviously, given the news today, not at all convinced that he has.
I don't think so. I don't think he has gotten or caught on, as we mentioned in the video, and just also released with some important polling that just came out, and basically saying that only less than 1/4 of the population actually agrees with tax cuts for the super rich and the wealthy and the millionaires. So you know, this is the part that we don't understand, and how is it that an unpopular tax cut that goes against a lot of the tenets that we have been fighting for is actually being, talked about in passing. It goes against a little bit of, or a lot of common sense right now.
Well, it certainly does. When you combine the 53% who want the tax cuts only for the middle class with the 14% who don't want it for anybody, you have 67% of the country saying hell no to the tax cuts for the rich. But either Barack Obama can't do math, or he's secretly a Republican, or he's so sad that he thinks that he has to do everything the Republicans ask him to do. Actually, it's controversial. I have no problem with being controversial. I don't know how you feel about it, but what do you think? Which one is it?
Well, I mean, it's no longer about controversy, but so much, relies on the issues, the important issues that we wanted to talk about, and particularly for us here at Cuéntame and for the Latino population, one of the things, or the Latino community, I should say, one of the things that's important is to tell them that the economy is the #1 issue for the Latino community. A lot of people think it's immigration, it's education, among other issues, but it's actually the economy, and this is hurting. The Latino community is hurting in this economy. It has high unemployment rate right now. A lot of the benefits have been cut, and now we see that on top of that, they want to extend these tax cuts that would further strengthen that gap between the rich and the poor, which has already been in place for the last 10 years.
Axel, I saw the number you had in there, 12.6% unemployment in the Latino American community. That's even worse than the 9.8% for the overall population. So what do they do? I mean, if Obama has not created jobs, and I don't think he has, because he doesn't get that manufacturing is important, and he doesn't get that he's got to stop giving everything to the bankers, and now he's going to give more tax cuts to the millionaires, and the Republicans are 100 times worse, what are they supposed to do?
I think it's time right now that we look really hard at our economic policy, and the items that we've done have not yielded the results that we've wanted. And it's time to side with the American population. It's time also to side with the Latino community, who went out this election cycle and voted in a lot of the same people that are thinking of supporting this. And and it's time to side with most Americans that are really hurting right now, that are really hurting in this economy.
Axel, let me ask you something.
Yes.
Let me jump in there. Is it time for the Latino community to get with the unions and get with some of the other stronger progressive forces in the country and say, look, these guys aren't going to do it, okay? Obama's not going to do it. He'll give you lip service. He'll tell you to vote for him again in 2012. And where did he put the Latino community? Where did he put jobs, immigration? He put them near the bottom, okay? Now, if you vote for a Republican, you should have your head examined, because they're 10 times worse, right? So is it time to get these progressive forces together and say, okay, let's get real progressives? Primaries for everybody. Burn their house down.
I think so. I think it's time, and we've seen it time and again when we're trying to rile up folks, specifically here on Cuéntame, which we have been growing tremendously over the past year. We're trying to rile up folks to take matters into their communities, to start organizing, to start getting very active. And I think it's time for them and for us as a community to side with those forces that are really lockstep with what matters to the Latino community the most, and that is jobs, that is comprehensive immigration reform, that is education. These are the issues, the three primary issues that that really affects us, as a community, and that have been, as you mentioned, rightly so, been put at the bottom of the barrel.
Axel, on the other hand, the Fed under Bush and Obama lent out $3.3 trillion to some of the top banks in the world. That's trickled down to you guys already, hasn't it?
No.
Oh, it hasn't? Oh, wow, that's really weird. Huh. I thought for sure that was going to work.
I mean, and this is what is so ironic about this. This is the same argument that is being put forth is like, oh, let's just let it trickle down, Well, what has happened? I mean, these policies have been in place for the last decade, if not more, and we haven't seen any trickle down.
Yeah, Grayson did a speech on that yesterday where he said, look, we tried tax cuts for 9 years. What happened? We didn't create any jobs. We lost a massive amount of jobs. It's time to try something new. So that's why I like what you guys are trying. So, Axel, tell us where people can find you.
Definitely. You can go to facebook.com/Cuéntame, and we actually have a series of these videos. We have 3 videos. The one that you show, we also have a comic book style video, which is very interesting, and I recommend folks to see. And then we also did, they're so regressive, these tax cuts, that they could be a 50s telenovela or soap opera, and so we did an episode of that as well. So,
that sounds fun,
driving the point across, I'm sorry.
No, that sounds fun, actually. Did you have really hot girls in that one? If it's a telenovela, you know what I'm saying?
You judge for yourself.
All right, Axel, thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.